Hi Sagittarius, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into it, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. It looks like there's some talk circulating. You may be expecting a message from someone. I'm looking at the Ten of Cups. It's like you feel happy, but you also feel kind of overwhelmed a bit. Maybe you feel like the stress you're dealing with is affecting your mood. So you're excited and you're happy and you're starting something new. Whatever this is, it looks very promising to me. With the Ten of Cups and the Page of Wands here. It feels like a lesson in not fighting yourself with something that you truly want to do, something that like actually brings you genuine happiness. For whatever reason, it seems like you recognize that something brought you happiness and that like you were excited to explore it and like the feelings that you had for it, but for whatever reason it also had some type of stress or overwhelm tied to it. This even feels like maybe because of people on the outside looking in, it kind of feels like you already know what is bringing you happiness, but you may have been affected by maybe people outside of yourself. That's just intuitively what I'm getting. And I'm seeing a cycle that we're completing, a lesson that we're learning when it comes to bringing to light why you may feel conflicted about something internally, where that's coming from. Understanding that, especially in relation to like what brings you joy, pleasure, happiness, with the Sun on the bottom of the deck. I'm hearing not counting that out. Yeah, whatever this was that was going on, where like you were either having a conflict with someone outside of yourself, also feeling internally conflicted about something, I'm seeing like a complete ending happening here. For some of you, this is about like taking on a job, a role, something like that. For others, it can be about a relationship. It can be about a position. Something having to do with money for some. As I said, that the Six of Pentacles is coming out. Yeah, this feels very much like, it feels like a karmic test that you're going through right now in relation to where you're going to find your happiness related to whatever this is specifically that you're going through right now. This is about, it feels very much like you advocating for yourself as well with whatever this is that you're starting. Like for some of you, it's something that goes beyond just financially being paid for something. It actually brings you a sense of joy and fulfillment, contentment, things like that, a sense of peace even. And you may also be financially compensated by whatever this is, depending on what it is for you. For some of you, this is specifically about a relationship. Intuitively, this is what I'm getting, and this may not be everybody's story, but maybe this is a very specific message for someone. There could have been somebody that you recognized as like feeling attracted to them, feeling excited about being with them, and then there could have been something going on where maybe you shied away from the opportunity with this person, and maybe because it was like something dealing with social norms. Even it was some type of challenge to be with this person, and maybe you shied away from it because you didn't want to be ostracized in some type of way, and now there's a sense of being maybe in a place even of understanding this. It's almost like you recognize that you like someone, and because of the opinions of other people, you may have been like, oh, I don't want to go down that road, or I don't want to deal with the impact or like the conflicts because of that. And then you recognize that kind of because you're going against your own nature, you feel internally conflicted, and you're like, oh, that's why that's coming up. It almost seems like you may have thought it wasn't a big deal to kind of ignore how you were feeling in a way. And then you recognize that this is of importance and it's something that you can't really ignore, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why I haven't been feeling content, or I haven't been feeling happy, because I chose not to pursue something that I was definitely being called towards. And I'm seeing, like, in that recognition of what had you feeling conflicted, there's a big ending that happens. And it feels like whatever internal conflict this was that you had been feeling, and maybe even a conflict with other people, it seems like it's completely finishing now. And you're understanding too the purpose of it, and the purpose of where the feelings are coming from, why they're coming up, how that's leading you on the path, maybe taking them even more into consideration than you had been before. Knowing that you're going to find your happiness within a dynamic with someone, and that this is also the recognition that you're being led by something even bigger than you, possibly into a connection with someone, or to start something. It's like to start a project, to play a certain role, or to be in a relationship with someone, or to pursue someone, or see where the connection goes. So it's like whatever this thing is that you're starting, that you have these feelings about, this is also about dropping the defenses too. It's like opening yourself up to what's going on, because it seems too like you may have been quite guarded in relation to this. The thing is that I'm seeing that you, in the very beginning, like before like any of the drama or maybe other opinions came into play, you recognize this as something that brought you a sense of fulfillment and joy and happiness. But for whatever reason, it grew into some type of issue. And maybe because you weren't listening to yourself, maybe because you were listening to other people, or because you didn't want to have to deal again with the consequences of doing something that may have been like a bit abnormal, or yeah, going against the grain somehow, maybe like societally speaking, it's like not a social norm, potentially, or there would have been some type of backlash even for this. This feels like something really deeply rooted as well, and something that's like finally coming to a head now, because you're like prioritizing yourself and your mental health and your emotional health. And you're recognizing that, like, when you're listening to yourself, especially like your higher self, because that's kind of what this feels like here, you recognize that you can be with someone and feel content because of the stability you feel within the relationship with this person. And that you were guided together with them as well. So now there's a choice. It's like you're at a crossroads now, so where do you go from here? For some of you, it's actually walking towards a relationship and making this something official. It's like you recognize that you can find your fulfillment, or that you do find your fulfillment within the connection with this person. And so you're ready to like pursue them and commit to a dynamic with them. Okay, so you are prioritizing your happiness. You're also prioritizing a sense of balance, what feels like it's in alignment with you, looking for the types of connections, projects, relationships where you feel valued in the way that you want to feel valued. So feeling valued in an ideal way, wanting to feel fulfilled, wanting to feel like you are connected with what you are involved in. For some of you, this is starting a relationship, starting a project, starting something new, something that you feel excited about, starting in a new direction, something that you feel passionate about, something you feel drawn towards. For some of you, with the Hierophant and the Four of Wands here, you may be making a relationship official. For some of you, you may be even getting married, like possibly even proposing to someone. Remember, energies can always be reversed. But yeah, it feels like it's some type of commitment with someone, and that can be taken in a number of ways. Because when we talk about a commitment, it can be something even contractual, but that can be something on paper in the 3D, or that can be something spiritual as well, like going on an energetic plane, a contract that we have with someone. So it's like things start coming full circle, and then you're recognizing to the purpose maybe even of why you've been drawn together with someone. It's like why that connection is there, what's meant to happen. You understand why you were feeling conflicted, like what you were fighting against, how to resolve that, like where that sense of stability and ease is for you. There's a sense of going back and forth between like getting to a place where you're ready to end something finally. Again, this can be like this internal conflict that you've been feeling. There's also another sense of going back and forth with things again, because I'm looking at the Two of Pentacles and I'm looking at the Two of Wands. So it's like you are prioritizing you're prioritizing your stability here. I'm also hearing economic safety. Interesting. So like things having to do with money, the home, and also bringing something to an end that you're like, you know what, this isn't healthy for me to continue doing, and I'm just finished with that and finally ready to move on from something that has been like keeping you in a spot that quite frankly feels extremely uncomfortable to be in. And you know, sometimes it's necessary, but it just feels like a place that you are capable and able to move on from anymore, and that you don't have to keep yourself within. And so it's about making the choice now to move, to get moving, and planning where you're going to be going next. And I'm seeing that that's what's most beneficial for you right now at this point, is to get on with a plan. I'm looking at Taurus, Saturn, Gemini. So do you feel worried about your capability of committing to something, or are you worried about someone else's capability or willingness to commit? Because I'm seeing that be in question here. It's like you're all up in your head about the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands likes to go where things are fun and pleasurable and usually of least resistance and most fun, again. And someone that does sometimes have a hard time committing because they like to be in places that feel entertaining and go kind of where the wind blows them and where their passions blow them. So is this something that you are feeling for yourself, that you don't want to be tied down, or is this about the other person that you're dealing with? I'm seeing this can be you just as much as this can be your person, so... Oh, Sagittarius. I mean, energies can always be reversed, so we can just pick one perspective and go with that. Yeah, there's a sense of being worried about, like, if what you're committing to is going to, like, reciprocate that and also be committed to you as well. And there's a sense of calling out this behavior because it's whether this is a conversation you're having with yourself or with somebody else, it's something that needs to be addressed. But it's like you feel in your head about addressing this, or like you're really overthinking it, or you can't stop focusing on this. It's like you can't get around this mentally. So again, it's like it is something that needs to be addressed. Like intuitively you're feeling this as well. Intuitively you may also be feeling a bit of a resistance. It's like you're aware of what's going on and you're aware that something needs to be done about it, but you're resisting even making the decision to do that, to go on and address it. The thing is that as much as this can be someone outside of yourself, like, I really am feeling someone's energy about this being, like, with them and themselves. It's like, can I actually control this? Is this, like, if I commit to someone, can I be, like, faithful to the person? Like, is this a problem that I have? Is this out of control? With the Devil here, it's, like, something that you're aware of that is, like, obsessive or like an addiction or like a codependency of some sort, but I'm seeing it more so be something that you feel almost at times like you don't have control over. As I said before, energies can always be reversed. This can be the person you're dealing with, but I'm seeing like somebody have an awareness of this thing and feel very caught up in it. Curious to see what's gonna pop up next. So, whether this be your own desires or the behavior of your partner, I'm seeing that something needs to be called out. You feel in your head about what you know already. It's about something being out of alignment. I'm seeing this specifically be related to the sacral chakra. But there's a sense of you really being encouraged to address this. Again, I'm seeing this be just as much can be like someone having a conversation with themselves as it can be having a conversation with a partner here. So definitely take this and put it into form however it resonates for you specifically within your life, and allow it to settle in that place. But yeah, it's a sense of needing to address something that has like maybe even gotten out of hand. And this too is recognized as well. Definitely a balancing of the sacral chakra is needed here. Having the strength to actually address this. Because I'm getting that it's not like someone's just behaving in whatever way and they're not aware of what they're doing. This person has an awareness of what's going on here and that it's something that needs to be addressed, but they may feel at times like powerless in relation to addressing this. I'm looking at the moon, I'm looking at Capricorn, and I'm looking at Leo here. This is the way that this changes for whomever this is relating to. The way that this changes is by one believing in their efficacy so much that they can actually change something that at one point in time they may have felt powerless in changing or redirecting. So it's like if one can find the strength within them, find the courage within themselves, and make a brave decision and decide to take control of this, this is how they do that. However, if someone feels disempowered and isn't believing that they can change, they're not going to be willing to do it, and so it's going to stay there. So this all just depends on the person and how they deal with things, and if they believe in themselves and that they can address this. And that can be different for everybody depending on how they handle these types of situations for themselves, how empowered they are. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.